Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Comments Corner. If you're not familiar with this series, we always start with an icebreaker and then we move on to answer one of the questions from your comments about handstands or movement in general or fitness. Last time in the icebreaker, we discussed contemporary US politics. This time it will be more light, and in the icebreaker, I will make an observation and then ask you a question. The observation I noticed in my skill-based fitness community, a lot of the people learning handstands, front levers, and skills like that have a musical instrument somewhere in the background, like a piano, a guitar, a drum set, and made me think, like, I really think this type of movement style or hobby attracts the people who also play musical instruments. So if you play a musical instrument, let me know which one, and let me know if you like any particular YouTubers who talk about this instrument so I can also watch and enjoy. Okay, now that the icebreaker is over, it's time to answer one of your comments. And I really like this comments from Adrar Lisa. I don't know if I pronounced your name correctly. And says, did anyone realize that he was doing handstands with flat hands? Aren't we supposed to do handstand with scrunched hands to keep us stable and balanced? Sorry, I made a different voice. I'm not making fun, but this way you can tell if it's me talking or it's the comment. I think it's really helpful to visualize it this way. And this is a very, very cool question that opens a can of worms. And what Lisa is talking about is, in many handstand tutorials, people tell you to do a grip kind of like this. I'll zoom in so you can see, but kind of like this with scrunched up fingers. Whereas in my handstand videos, many times you see me do handstand. I'll actually do it so you can see. You see me do a handstand with a very flat and kind of relaxed hand. And obviously, since my hands are kind of flat and relaxed, you know that you don't need to do this. However, should you do this? And the answer is, it depends. First of all, I said it'll open a can of worms. Let's talk about that really quickly. Whenever you hear any advice about handstands from anyone, including me, including me, I want you to see if you can make an analogy with standing up. And if you can't make an analogy with standing up, don't listen to this advice or ignore it. Or maybe try to see the perspective of the person teaching it, but don't apply it. Why? Because when I was learning handstand was this very foreign, mysterious, magical thing. And it's amazing. So I did not understand it. So I remember seeing a guy say, scrunch your fingers. Another guy said, here's a handstand hack, scatter your hands so you can balance more like this. And these are all very silly. They're not what you should do. And as I learn more and more about handstands, I realize that even though, yes, there's a lot of things you don't understand yet about handstands, when you compare them to standing up, you realize they make sense. For example, the reason why people say scrunch the fingers is sometimes if you're falling over, you can push with the fingers to bring yourself back. So if you're falling over like this, you might step, and that's also why people step in handstand, or you might squeeze the fingers and it bring you back. Squeeze the toes and bring you back. But also, you might push the hips and it brings you back. You might push the hips and it brings you back. And maybe you don't notice this in day-to-day life, but when someone talks about them in handstand, like pushing the finger, doing a hip save, or doing a shoulder save, you realize you can also do them in standing up and they make sense. Now, scrunching the fingers, when you're standing up, do you continuously scrunch the fingers? No, but maybe if you were kind of walking on a narrow edge to escape a fire, and if you fall, you will for surely die, then maybe you will walk a little bit more like this. And maybe you will squeeze the fingers a little bit. But it's important to know that this is not something you should keep doing. Now, sometimes, if you try to make a finger correction to squeeze yourself back, we cannot separate this movement from this movement, so we do a bit of both. So the hand scrunches, I don't know if you can see it. So the hand scrunches up a little bit, And if that happens naturally to you, that's fine. But the problem begins when, for some people, it happens naturally and they see it and like, oh, I'm going to teach it. They tell you to force it, and that's not natural. If you can push yourself off, and I have a video detailing how you can figure that out, it doesn't matter. I never tried this. Actually, I thought about it before hitting record, but I'm going to try to do like this, So I'm going to put my fingers here. I don't know if you can see it. And it's harder. It's new, but it still works. It's fine. It's fine. You can do it. So the moral of the story is, no, you don't need to scrunch your fingers. Do what feels natural. And also, whenever you hear any kind of advice about handstands, think if it applies to foot stands. Finally, I will say something. If you are excited about learning about handstands and you're going to watch all of these tutorials, including mine, become aware that the tutorials you see are the tutorials that were shared a lot, that were snappy. So many times I share tutorials with a lot of information, they don't get any views. So I share tutorials with a little bit of information, fast, quick, editing, snappy, not like this video, and they get a lot of views, and that's what you see. So it motivates you, it's a good thing, but if you're only using those to learn, it's not going to be painting the full picture, especially if you're like me. You tend to get stuck in what someone said and try to force it, and you'll have a really hard time. So if you are serious, I'm not saying go buy a course and get all the information, but maybe see some of my older videos, or realize that people who are teaching handstand online, who are professional coaches who do this for a living, need to somehow make the money. And they either do this by making videos that get a lot of views. So how do they make money from a lot of views? If you don't know, I will tell you. It's you are watching the videos and watching ads and purchasing stuff from ads. So not only do we need to make the video get a lot of views, we need to get views from people who buy stuff. So instead of you paying me, for example, sorry, money is taboo, but we got to talk about this to understand the mechanics. Instead of you paying me, you pay Mark Zuckerberg, you pay YouTube, and they pay me a fraction because you're buying stuff from ads. And you don't need that stuff. You can go directly. So I'm not trying to push hard on my products, but I see a lot of people say, oh man, it's my dream to learn handstand. It's my dream. And I say, okay, like I have this community, it's $30, and you upload a video and I see you, I hear what you're struggling with, and specifically I give you the tip for you. Oh, you're scrunching too much, you're scrunching not enough. Relax, try this. You know what the concept is, but how do you actually train it? How do you know you're on the right track? And they're like, oh, I don't want to pay you. There's so much free stuff. But it's not free. It's only free because you're buying stuff you don't need from the ads. So hopefully this motivates you to check skill-based fitness, or even just go watch my older videos. They're more detailed, they're less fancy, but they teach you everything you need. Okay, that's all for this episode today. Thank you so much. I'll see you next time. Enjoy.